Thanks, Martin and Alice, for the introduction. And hello, everyone. Good to see some people I know in the audience and a few new faces as well. For those of you that don't know me, I'm one of the founders and CEO of Overleaf, which is a collaborative writing platform. So Overleaf is used by a lot of different people, from students all the way through to researchers and authors. We focused a lot, I think, initially on working with publishers on the journal side of things, but we're starting to work with publishers on books now and look at how Overleaf and collaborative authoring tools can help facilitate and help enable the book authoring and book production workflows. So I think kind of the backdrop to a lot of this, because we talked about innovation in book publishing at the start and where have we come from, where are we going to, I think the backdrop to that is that, generally collaboration and communication is increasing around the world, and it's making, the internet has made a lot of things a lot easier. You can have a Skype call with someone in a different country, you can enable much larger collaborations. Again, both on the journal publishing side, but also on the book publishing side, it's a lot easier to find content in different places, to connect with other people and work with other people. However, and this is again slightly more from the journal side with the reviewer step, but there it kind of translates into books as well. You end up with a lot of silos. Like, content gets passed back and forth between different places. Quite often, comments will be separate from a manuscript or separate from a draft, and you'll end up with multiple versions of the same file. So it can be quite difficult to actually go through a workflow of writing a piece of content, whether it's a book or a journal article, and getting it through to publication, takes a long time. And there's kind of many challenges. But one thing that cloud-based tools have been doing in general is moving more things into a central place where they can be accessed by different people at different times, depending on what they need to do. And it kind of helps reduce the number of silos there are. Obviously, there are multiple services online, but it's easier to connect those together because you don't have local things locked away on people's hard drives, and you don't have the long email threads passing documents back and forth, and all of that information that's kind of lost because it's just in an email and no one can do anything with it. So Overleaf is an example of this kind of service. So that's a screenshot of Overleaf. If you've never used it, it's a collaborative writing platform, a bit like Google Docs. You can write your content, but then it automatically typesets it for you depending on the template you've chosen at the start. So that's a journal article template as an example, but there's many book templates on Overleaf. And to give you a bit of context, there's about 700,000 people writing things on Overleaf. Like I say, it ranges from students and even high school students doing project reports and group projects and things, all the way through to researchers and teachers and professionals in industry and at labs and universities around the world. So, like I say, there's already a lot of book templates on Overleaf, and so these aren't ones that we've added ourselves, but our template gallery is community driven, so different people can submit different templates that they've created. So some of these would be publisher book templates, where they already have an existing structure, or some of these are just nice templates that people have created for self-publishing books. And I should say Overleaf is based on LaTeX behind the scenes, so all the templates are LaTeX based. But as you saw from the screenshots, you don't have to edit in LaTeX if you don't know what it is, or if you don't like it. We also wrote a few blog posts just published yesterday to sort of coincide with this session, both for maybe discussion today and then also just generally. One on the stoic resilience of the PDF within the digital ecosystem, because that's not a controversial topic at all. So I think there's a lot been said on it, and what we just did was try and put together a little bit of the history of why maybe the PDF has been so prevalent when there are many perhaps reasons why it's not the best format, but equally there are lots of reasons why people keep using it. But then what we wanted to do and pick out was just Overleaf is used by authors, but it's also used in book production as well. So we've just put together some examples of how it kind of works in those different scenarios for people to take a look at. And I'm not going to touch on the book authors one now. I'm just going to give a couple of case studies very quickly from the book production one to hopefully stimulate some discussion. So at a kind of theoretical level, you can start with a template on Overleaf, and you start with a chapter template. Lots of different people can work on lots of different chapters, and then you can put it all together at the end. But what does that really mean? That's very schematic and sort of what does that really mean in practice? Well, actually, last year at SSP, we did Sprint Beyond the Book, which was a group of people all writing a book together in 72 hours. So it was people who were at the conference, could come, just write, a contribution, write an article. They were all then pulled together and produced as a book. It happened over 72 hours, which is quite a quick turnaround time. But essentially, all that we did was we set up a template for each people to write their contribution. We prepared this beforehand, so this is something that you could distribute. Each day, authors wrote their contribution using the template. In the evening, the contributions were shared with copy editors who again came into the project on Overleaf, left track changes and left comments. The authors then had the next day to kind of accept those changes, reject them, or make any final edits. And then once everything was finalized, all the different articles, I think there were 17 in total, were ready to be brought together. So then to bring the articles together, one of our tech experts, Lianci Lim, created a master project. She effectively acted as the main editor to bring the book together. You can link files in Overleaf, so I'm not going to go into details of what that means, but essentially you could pull in all of those contributions into one main master project, adding cover, biographies, acknowledgements, and an introduction, so they were written centrally, and then it was produced and available on Overleaf. And so this is the final version that you can also download and view. That was basically a book production cycle that was done using Overleaf. Without us really creating anything special for it, we created the templates for the authors to use, and then we had someone who brought those all together into, if you like, the master template. But really it was just using the collaborative authoring technology that was already there. There's a second case study which is around how Language Science Press currently use Overleaf for preparing some of their books that have been written. They use it kind of on the editing side because they use LaTeX as their preferred format, and so this is a nice way for them to bring things together. There are more details on the blog if you want to sort of read in their words how they use it. But kind of I just wanted to finish and say that, really Overleaf was created out of the frustrations with writing journal articles, and that was kind of why we built it and kind of where a lot of the initial use was. But actually, even initially, a lot of the use was also in other different types of projects, like students writing their theses and dissertations. There's actually a set of wedding invitations that have been created. There's a load of great examples on creating calendars and other nice things on Overleaf. And so we're now really starting to explore how it can work with books and how collaborative authoring tools can help streamline the book production process as well. So for anyone out there who has an interest in this or wants to talk to us more, then just get in touch. And that's me done. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.